Hello, Homestead. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please stay standing for a moment of silence.
It is, I think, difficult for students who are home to maintain the motivation to get up and follow that schedule. It's hard enough as an adult, and for adolescents, I think it's very difficult.
The state of SACS. Hear what Superintendent Dr. Downs has to say about how the district has handled learning during the COVID-19 pandemic and what is to come the rest of this school year.
Plus, you'll meet the junior class officers as Michelle Obiyama brings us part 2 of her series over Homestead student government. Those stories and more straight ahead. Thank you for joining us. I'm Nisha Lalleria.
And I'm Jenna Lane. We've gotten past the halfway mark of first semester this year, which some would call a huge success during a global pandemic. But what does the person in charge of the entire district think of how it's gone the first 10 weeks of the school year? HHS in-depth reporter Ashton Hackman recently sat down with Superintendent Dr. Downs to get his opinion on the state of SACS this school year.
It is, I think, difficult for students who are home to maintain the motivation to get up and follow that schedule. It's hard enough as an adult, and for adolescents, I think it's very difficult.
2 months into the new school year, and Southwest Allen County Schools has made it through the first 9 weeks with no major hiccups. Superintendent Dr. Phil Downs feels that while there have been many challenges, the district has handled the pandemic in an extraordinary way.
I sit in awe of the work and the care that the teachers and the administrators are putting into this. The dedication to children and to themselves and to each other is just, it's moving. Also, and especially, the way the students have reacted has just been incredible. There were conversations, students would never do this, or the students have been fantastic.
Per Governor Holcomb's latest executive order, the statewide mask mandate expires this Saturday, but Downs stresses it would be counterproductive for the district to reverse the steps it's been taking to combat the virus.
Personally, I think we've been doing very well with what we're doing. I would hate for us to just abandon what's working simply because it looks like everything's done and forget the fact that it may be that things are working well because of what we're doing.
Back in March, when students were sent home because of the whole pandemic, there was presumably no positive cases in the building, but now we've had students who have been quarantining and even some testing positive. Is there a plan in place if the number of cases gets too high or is too alarming that students would go back home and do remote learning?
Yeah, there's not really a set cutoff number or anything, because what we've learned is the situations are so different. We could have a large number of kids get quarantined or sick, but it all could have happened outside of school and not even gotten to school. So to say it's a certain number of positive cases depends on where they are, depends on how many other students were infected.
As the number of coronavirus cases in Indiana continues to rise, Southwest Allen County Schools is committed to keeping students and staff safe through the pandemic. Reporting for HHS In Depth, I'm Ashton Hackman.
Seniors, please note that today at 2:45 p.m. is the application deadline for the prestigious IU Wells Scholarship. No late applications will be accepted. For further information about the IU Wells Scholarship and others, please be sure to check out the HHS Guidance Scholarships page on the Homestead website or visit the HHS Class of 2021 Canvas page.
Biomedical Science Club will host a call-out informational meeting today after school from 2:45 to 3 p.m. in room 215. If you have any questions or are interested in becoming a member but cannot attend, please contact Mrs. Behrens at the email address shown here.
2 more clubs will also be meeting after school today. Anime Club meets immediately after school in room 924, and Basket Weaving Club will meet today after school in Mrs. Ricker's room, room 204.
Next week, Film Club will meet on Tuesday after school in Mrs. Ricker's room, room 113. Go join them for snacks and to watch and discuss films.
On our last show, we introduced you to the senior members of student government in our first installment of Getting to Know the Class Officers.
Today, we're bringing you part 2, where you'll meet the junior class officers and see what they're doing to make Homestead better for all students. Here's HHS In Depth reporter Michelle Obiyama.
Welcome back to the second installment of the 4-part series where I introduce you to your student government. This week, picking up where we left off, we're going to learn a little bit more about the junior class officers.
I was inspired to run for student government because it allowed me to get more involved in the school and plan different activities that we put on and just meet more people that way.
I wanted to overall just help the school become a better place and to make the student events as fun as possible.
I was inspired to run for student government because I wanted to get more involved with the school, meet new people. It's always nice being able to plan these fun events like prom and semi.
The juniors who had previously run for student government are seeing some key differences this year.
So this year there was definitely a lot more people that ran for student government than previous years. And it was a little bit different because we didn't have to get signatures for the petition, which we typically do. So it was a little bit easier in that aspect, but there was definitely more involvement in running for student government positions this year.
I'd probably have to say the most difficult aspect of running was probably just the whole idea of COVID, because you had to get your point across in a different direction as last year. But other than that, there really was no change in running this year.
So juniors typically plan a prom, but this year, hopefully we'll be able to do everything as normal, just putting on any events that we can do, sticking with the COVID guidelines and just being able to keep student involvement up.
We're probably looking forward to the most is to planning prom. Hopefully we have one. I think we can make it really special and fun this year.
The junior class officers are looking forward to a year full of fun events for the student body. Reporting for HHS In Depth, I'm Michelle Biama.
Every student is offered a free breakfast and a free lunch each instructional day.
Homestead students now have the opportunity to eat breakfast for free prior to first period each and every school day.
When we come back, find out why this option and free lunch is now available and how you can take advantage of it.
On Saturday, October 17th, the Spartan Alliance will hold their annual chicken and dumpling sale at Homestead High School. Reporter Jenna Lane will bring you a recap on how that sale went, see how they were able to serve their customers despite their current situation, only on HHS In Depth.
Welcome back, I'm Jenna Lane. This is just a reminder, auditions for the fall play An Evening of Monologues will take place today from 3 to 4:30 p.m. in the choir room. You should have already signed up for a time slot. See Mr. Shaw with any last-minute questions.
Environmental Club's next meeting will be on Monday after school in Mrs. Merkling's room, room 206. Take a friend and don't miss out on the meeting. They hope to see you there at 2:45 in room 206.
You may have heard the announcements prior to fall break about the new free breakfast and lunch meals being offered to all Homestead students. To tell you more about it and what all is offered, here's HHS In Depth reporter Carly Flanagan.
Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, many families have found it more difficult to be able to purchase a meal plan this school year. Because of this, the USDA has come out with a nationwide plan that benefits all schools, including ours in our Southwest Allen County School District.
We are retroactively refunding meals back to the beginning of the school year. Any meals that were purchased have now been refunded. Every student is offered a free breakfast and a free lunch each instructional day.
Although this plan has made purchasing lunch more accessible, many students and families wonder how long this plan will last.
Everything that has been communicated to me from the USDA and the Indiana Department of Education says that this will run through the end of the fall semester or through Christmas break or until the funds run out.
With the USDA's hope of helping schools nationwide, SACS strives to help families financially in any way they can. Many students have benefited from this plan, and the breakfast and lunch services have already seen a spike in attendance.
I think it's a great idea, especially with COVID happening, because so many families are struggling and the economy's down. So many students are being benefited by this, and they can get their free lunch and they don't have to worry about the struggles of money, having their parents have to put money in their lunch account every week. I just think it's great, especially for families that are lower income.
I think it really benefits the families and SACS because it helps them save money instead of wasting $5 for lunch every day.
I think our families have been affected. Many have been affected financially. So I think this could be a little bit of help for them. Lunch and breakfast at school aren't super expensive, but every little bit counts. By us offering that, it does provide a little bit of assistance for all the families.
Every student at Homestead benefits from both the breakfast and lunch meal plans here at school. Reporting for HHS In Depth, I'm Carly Flanagan.
Every year, Homestead offers a personal finance test out for freshmen and sophomores. To learn more about this year's and how you can take advantage of this opportunity, here's reporter Nada DeHook.
The personal finance credit is a graduation requirement for all students. However, every year there is a test out option available for freshmen and sophomores that allows them to receive the credit without taking the course.
Personal finance is a course that's teaching students real-life financial skills like banking, taking loans, borrowing money, and a big portion of personal finance is on your future planning and how to invest and things of that nature.
The test is all multiple choice, but in the multiple choice there's a variety of things that you have to do. Some are just a question and you have to answer it with a definition or an answer, but some of it definitely is math. Because it's finance, there will be some figuring of numbers, there probably will be some questions about taxes, so it'll give you what the information is that you need, but you would need to know how to figure that.
Although the test may seem intimidating, Homestead provides students with many resources to study beforehand.
If I was going to take the PFR test out, I would look at the module that's placed in your class of, and as you go through that module, the section that says personal financial responsibility state standards would probably be the areas that I would look. I would then cross-reference those standards with the book so that I would know exactly what's in as far as what the book's covering for those standards.
To apply for the test out option, go to your Class of module and fill out the Google form linked to the bottom of the registration page. The last day for freshmen and sophomores to register is October 23rd. Reporting for HHS In Depth, I'm Nada Hook.
Turning to weather now, after a couple great fall days recently, things have certainly cooled off today.
Cora Shaw is in now to tell us how long this cool down will last.
Tonight will be partly cloudy with some winds as we see another cold fall evening. Homestead football hits the road tomorrow night to play Southside, and temperatures are expected to drop into the low 30s. So make sure to bring a warm hoodie and maybe a hat and gloves if you are attending the game. I'll be back later with a check on your 7-day forecast.
All right, thank you, Cora.
Next in sports, it may have been fall break, but Homestead Athletics was on fire all week long. You'll see a recap of the football team's 7th straight win.
Plus, find out how our other athletic teams did over the past week. Ashton and Caleb are in next with sports. We'll be right back.
Tomorrow night, the final game of the regular season. An away game against the Southside Archers. With a win tonight, the Spartans will keep the victory bell for another year. Listen live on the Point 91 FM.
Welcome back, I'm Ashton Hackman. It was a very successful fall break for Homestead Athletics, with several teams bringing home sectional titles. The boys tennis team brought home plenty of postseason hardware. Last Wednesday, they took down Dwenger 4-1 in the regional championship, and then Saturday won semi-state with a 5-0 victory over Westview. We get caught up with the number 4 ranked Spartans as they gear up to face number 1 Carmel in the first round of the state finals tomorrow at noon.
Well, I mean, Carmel is number 1 in the state. They've won the state championship 4 years in a row. So obviously we'd want a different draw, but we're excited to play the best right off the bat. We've played them close in a match already this year, and also in an invite. We've played them close in spots. So I'm excited to play them, and even as the number 1 team. And
well, this year we kind of rebounded after our shock loss to North Central last year in semi-state. We came back and beat Westview 5-0 last Saturday, so I feel like that's definitely a confidence booster, and I feel like it gives us more confidence going into the state tournament, even though we didn't make state last year.
Being a part of this team is really, really inspirational and fun. I love being a part of this team. Every single one of these guys is my best friend. We all hang out and just like play tennis every single day in the off season, and we all just like love each other, and it's what makes us like one of the best teams in the state.
We are in the final week of SAC football, and after a big win over Carroll 2 weeks back, Homestead sits comfortably atop the conference. With a recap of the games against Carroll and Wayne and standings from the SAC, here's sports reporter Caleb Wood.
A lot has happened in the last 2 weeks. Homestead is now leading the SAC title race. Starting with the rivalry matchup against the Carroll Chargers. Not much defensive action from the Chargers. This led the Spartans to scoring 5 touchdowns each half, totaling 70 points. This game will definitely be remembered as several school records were broken. First off, Homestead broke the previous offensive yard record of 627 yards, setting the new bar at 765 yards. Senior quarterback Evan Ormsby broke the record for the total number of passing yards in a game with 436 passing yards. The previous record was held by his brother Logan. Ormsby also tied the record for the most passing touchdowns in a game with 6 on the night. 8 total touchdowns against the Chargers, yet another record broken. Junior wide receiver Nate Anderson broke the record for the most receiving yards in one game, setting it at 230. And finally, senior running back Braden Hardwick rushed for 287 yards in that game, breaking the previous record of 256. Last time the Spartans put up 70 on the scoreboard was in 1996, also against the team up north. Moving on to the next week, Homestead at Wayne, another high-scoring game for the Spartans. Braden Hardwick brought in 2 rushing touchdowns in the first half, both runs over 40 yards. Nate Anderson led the team in receptions, including this 62-yard touchdown reception. Spartans winning this one on the road 42-12. But one of the most important accomplishments last Friday was with head coach Chad Zolman. He broke the previous record for the number of games won by a coach. The Spartans and the Bishop Dwenger Saints are now the only teams with a 7-1 record. However, because of the tiebreaker, the victory over the Saints puts the Spartans on top of the SAC. A win over Southside tomorrow night will seal the SAC victory for the Spartans.
Taking a look at recent Homestead athletic action over the fall break, the Homestead girls golf team capped off their season as state runner-ups after an impressive year. The team finished 3 strokes behind Evansville North. Juniors Maddie DeBeja and Simone Senk finished among the top 10 individuals in 5th and 6th respectively. Congratulations to the Lady Spartans on a fantastic season. Both cross-country teams competed at the sectional meet on Northrop on Saturday. First up were the Lady Spartans, who came into the race after a week break. The girls placed 3rd with freshman Addison Canablo leading the team as the individual runner-up. Claire Weidler and Elise Peckinpah finished 14th and 18th respectively. As for the boys, they placed 4th with 3 Spartans breaking into the top 20. Junior Ethan Bates came into the finish chute in 9th place, senior Donnie McCardle in 12th, and freshman Bryson Leffers in 16th. Both teams will be competing in regionals at West Noble Saturday morning. The boys soccer team won their 6th sectional championship in the last 7 seasons, edging out the Southside Archers 3-2. The Spartans were down 1 with 10 minutes left in the second half, and Homestead's Noah Smith tied it up with an assist from Luke Shepard. In overtime, Spartans pulled away when Riley George made the penalty kick after Southside fouled Carter Van Stone in the box. Your final score once again 3-2. They will be competing at regionals in Kokomo. The girls soccer team also won their sectional, beating out Warsaw 3-2 here at home. Goals were scored by seniors Emma Doobie and Taylor Archbold and sophomore Sophia Citrone. They will be competing in regionals at Logansport on Saturday. That's all for Sports Core. Has a final check of the forecasts after the break.
On a future HHS In Depth, reporter Cora Shaw sits down with Principal Dr. Ginder to learn the reasons behind the changes to the school's calendar, including not having finals and canceling the last 3 days of school this semester. Be on the lookout for that story and more next week only on HHS In Depth.
Drastic change in temperatures today as we come off the warmer weather. Highs will only get into the low 50s with some slight winds. Even though things are getting colder, the good news is that we should stay dry, with today being the highest chance of rain we have. With colder temperatures, it'll be great weather to stay in over this 3-day weekend.
All right, Cora, thank you. And thank you for watching today.
Don't forget that the Homestead Spartans are back in action tonight for a chance to win the SAC at Southside. You can watch all of the action on Homestead's radio station, The Point 91 FM, with the OPS pregame show coming on at 6:15 p.m. and kickoff set for 7 p.m. with Matt Solfrank and Chris Corman on the call.
You can also get quarterly score updates by checking the Locker Report's Twitter page.
We'll be back next week with an all-new edition of HHS In Depth.
Have a great 3-day weekend, and we'll see you next week.